Oh, you know what? It would probably help if I took that down. See, it's been a month since we've been on air, so I'm a little rusty.
Hello, Mr. Ridgely.
Hello, Mr. Madison.
How are you, my dear friend?
I am excellent. How are you?
I am better than excellent. First off, I want to say, it's awesome to be back. Second off, I want to say welcome to the end of the night. Now, the end of the night is brought to you by Film Hub, one of the pioneers of independent filmmaking. Film Hub is now the company behind the end of the night, and I'm super excited. Film Hub is the number one distribution platform used by filmmakers around the world to distribute their titles to streaming services such as Amazon, Prime Video, IMDb TV, the Roku channel, Zumu, Tubi, and many, many more. With Film Hub, filmmakers maintain their rights and take control of their distribution with tools to manage their assets, view reports, collect earnings, and receive payments. Now that I got the official stuff out of the way, I actually work with Film Hub, and I'm honored that they're now a part of the end of the night.
That is awesome. Got to go over and say hi to Libby, of course. And
Hello, Libby.
yeah, see, even Scott liked your opening.
You liked it. Thank you, Scott. We put a lot of work into that. That was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Staley.
Great intro. And the other thing we need to touch on is if you guys ever wondered what we're using to stream, that would be StreamYard. For professional looking streams, go to StreamYard.
Yes, StreamYard. And they make this show possible. So, Mr. Ridgely, how are you?
Man, it's been way too long. I've been chomping at the bit to get back online, so this is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, I want to thank everybody who, my Indie Brigade family. I absolutely adored doing that our show on that platform. But sadly, it was the plug was pulled on the show. I mean, that's really all I could say about it from my end. Joe, is there anything you want to touch on?
People get busy, life happens, and it's a new beginning here. Let's do it. Let's
absolutely.
have fun.
So thank you, Mr. Romero, for having me on your network. I will always look at you as a brother. Your network was fantastic, and we all worked really hard at making it that way. So all the best, my friend. With that being said, we have a jam-packed show tonight. Believe it or not, Joe, this is, I don't know. It's the end of the night started. I did my very first episodes back in 1991 in college. Wow. So I guess we're going over 30 years ago. Yeah, okay, Ken. Over 30 years ago, and it was a radio show where I talked to horror icons, believe it or not, back then. And for the relaunch of season 2, where I wanted to have on somebody who was with me back almost 10 years ago when the end of the night was based out of a radio station in Atlantic City. And this gentleman is now a filmmaker and a film actor and a dear friend of mine, Mr. Brian Enright. Mr. Enright.
Hey.
How are you, my friend?
Hey guys, what's up? You guys are looking beautiful tonight. I am so jealous. You guys have amazing posters in the background. So I'm a schlub. I have nothing but a calendar. So I decided to bring out a copy of Bulworth and Hobo with a Shotgun to keep me company. So that's going to stay right over here. But it's amazing to see your beautiful faces. How are you guys?
We're very well. How are you, Mr. Enright? And I want to say it's absolutely trippy to have you on the show. Back in the day when we did our show out of Atlantic City, it was you and two other gentlemen. Robert Smith, is that one of them?
Yes, yeah, we Robert Smith and Zacharias.
Yeah, and we had David Naughton on that show, and we had Doug Bradley, we had Corey Feldman, we had a who's who of horror icons, and we had a lot of fun with that show. But Now, Mr. Enright, I see that you're sticking your toes into filmmaking, and you got some projects coming on. What's cooking with you, brother?
So yeah. So I landed. I went to acting school back in 2009, and then I just kind of like try to find my footing, and then I after doing the full Monty, which is like my first big lead in anything musical theater, I decided to go into acting full time. And then I sent out audition after audition after audition. And I finally entered a role in the movie called Hideout, which is a horror movie, which is now completed, which is coming out. And yeah, I just joined SAG-AFTRA, and I've just been doing it. And it's so awesome because like it's a full circle now. I mean, I've got to be with you, Dave, when we started all this after Bizarre AC, and Joe Ridgely, he at his very first show, Technical Difficulties, he brought me on with his guests, and we talked horror movies. So it's just it's a small world. I'm glad to be doing this with you guys.
No, it absolutely is a small world. I think I did Joe's show. Was it Technical Defects when I did it first?
Technical Defects, yeah.
Yeah, and you had a lovely young lady in Alaska who was your co-host. I'm having a brain fart with her name, that was a while ago.
Well, see, what I'm trying to figure out though is you said that you worked with Brian 10 years ago. Were you 18? How the hell old were you, man?
It was yeah. Go ahead.
It was not exactly 10 years ago. It was 2014, actually. But when you get to be old like I am, I'm 50 years old. Everything is 10 years ago. Like I went to the last time I went to the bathroom was literally 10 years ago. It was like 10 seconds ago, but it was like 10 years ago. That's the great thing of wearing Depends.
Well, that's good.
The secrets are being revealed.
Yes, it's pretty horrifying. What you drinking, Mr. Ridgely?
Soda.
An ice cold soda.
Yes. May have a splash of Jim Beam or so, but
So Brian, tell us about this movie Hideout.
Oh, awesome. So Hideout is a horror movie completely shot in South Jersey. We actually shot it in Violent in August, and it is a crime thriller horror. I can't give too much away, but it's about these robbers who fumble a store robbery, and things get screwed up, and they're driving around. They have a guy who's shot, and they're looking for a place to lie low because they're now being hunted. And they find a house in the middle of Vineland, and they go there to seek refuge, and things just get crazy. It's we have a good team, we have a good cast, we have a great crew. The director Chris Roselli is a beast when it comes to filmmaking. He's had a bunch of shorts that he's made for a very long time, and this was his first feature film. And one of the processes I did when I auditioned, because I sent out tons of requests for auditions after I did the full Monty, and I finally saw this this casting call, and it was looking for someone to play like a convict. So for the audition, I shaved my head, and first time I ever did anything method like that. And then I had a couple callbacks, and then he finally told me, he's just like, "Hey, I want to cast you," and I was just like, "Holy shit!" And it was also my first paid film feature ever, and film anything. I did shoot. I was in a commercial back for Bizarre AC 2, and I was with your friend Brian O'Halloran. He was one of the guys that got picked up by Gene Snitsky and Brittany Shannon, and we were throwing a van together. We were driven off to AC, so that was like my first commercial debut. But this is the film Hideout is like that the first time where I get to be, a leading role. And it was cool to have the shaved head and to be the convict. And this was the first time I actually held a gun. So I want to play around with it and get used to it and learn about trigger discipline and all that. So it was a pretty cool experience. And the movie is pretty scary. I think that any audiences that go get a chance to get their hands on Hideout or view Hideout are going to absolutely love it. It's terrifying. And it's the best way that the director Chris Roselli explained it. It's a popcorn flick, so I think the audiences are going to dig it.
Awesome. And when is that movie scheduled to come out?
So it is scheduled to come out, I believe, the end of summer. But right now, the director informed me that it is being dabbled with the film festival circuit. So it has been sent out, and hopefully we'll get some. Hopefully we get some entries in.
Awesome. Well, you have to do me a favor, Brian. When the movie comes out, I want you and whatever cast members that you can conjure up to come on the show, and we'll talk about its release. And that would be really, really fantastic. I wanted to have you on tonight, Brian, again, to thank you for being one of the pioneers of this train wreck of a show.
No, it's gonna be a great show. It's gonna be a great show. You guys do fine. David, you're awesome at this. And Joe, of course, Joe is Joe. He's the man. You guys are gonna kick ass.
And of course, please feel free to come on whenever you like, Mr. Enright.
I wish I was prepared. I would have brought one of the pictures of him from the freaking movie looking like a total badass. You're scary looking, man. Let me tell you.
Hey, that's what not landing any roles for 20 years gets you. You finally just lose your mind. Can you say the F word on here? I don't know
Yes,
if you can.
you can.
Okay. Yeah, you lose your freaking mind. There we go.
Well, I also want to say I'm very proud of everything that you've done. You're
Thanks,
grown up to
man.
be a fine actor and just a great guy. And,
Thanks.
I will actually have you on soon.
Yeah, and I'll let the cast and crew know that this is a home for them to promote the movie. So thank you. I'm very humbled to be here.
Absolutely. The End of the Night's a home for all indie filmmakers out there. And it was great seeing you, Brian. I will be in touch with you shortly, pal.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great night.
You do the same. Thanks. What an awesome guy, man.
He is an awesome guy, and I just wanted him, with the relaunch of the show, it just felt really nice and important to have somebody on from back in the day. And he's just such a sweet guy, and he's such a talented guy, and it was awesome to see him. But with that said, this is the end of the night. Film Hub presents the end of the night. And without further ado, nobody wants to hear me talk, Everybody wants to hear the lovely and talented Mr. Scott Schiaffo. Uncle Scott, are you there?
I'm thinking he's saying yes.
Hey! Hello, boys.
How are you, my friend?
Doing really well, man. It's great to be back.
It's great to be back.
Great to be back. Uh-oh.
Wait a minute, you got a rubber ducky now? God,
No, that wasn't me.
You know, it's funny. We actually had some guests lined up for when the show was put on hiatus. So hopefully we'll be able to get those guests rebooked to come on the show, once we get this badass bad boy getting on the road. Scott.
Hey, Ken, what's happening? Yeah, it's nice to be back, man. I got to wrap my head around the night change, which is not a big deal. Make sure our folks know it's Sunday night's the live night. Hey, Mr. Meany, how are you?
I look at it this way. I mean, are you home more on Sunday night at 10 o'clock or Friday night at 11 o'clock?
Oh, you really want to know?
Yeah.
For you, Mr. Madison, I'm home whenever this show is ready to roll.
There you
How's
go.
that for an answer?
My answer was going to be I'm married with children. I'm home all the time.
You're full of shit, but I'll take your answer for what it's worth.
Hey, man, I mean, I live in my crazy, funky little man cave studio most of the time anyway, so,
Alrighty.
Which a lot of us are very envious of.
With that being said, it's time for us to bring our featured guest of the evening out. This gentleman has appeared in countless television shows and in one of my favorite motion pictures, Warlock 2. He's just a great actor, and he's an extremely talented guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Craig Hurley. Craig, how are you?
Good. How are you, sir? Whoa, what happened to my camera?
Oh, there you go.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
What's going on?
Nothing much. You know what's awesome? I mean, earlier we got to talk a few minutes before the show in the green room. And I noticed that you have all kinds of cool Star Wars toys.
Yeah.
Are you an antique toy collector?
No, I'm looking at everybody else's backgrounds too, man. Dude, that's studio. Scott, your studio is amazing. By the way, hi.
Hey, Greg, how are you? Thank you.
Good. Good. Dude, that rocks back there, dude. I've got like my drum set that I just picked up on Facebook Marketplace, and I happened to pick it up from a friend of a friend. It just randomly turned out that
Wow.
way. Yeah.
What do you got there? What is that?
It's a Rhythm Art. It's a 1990, probably 6, I'm guessing, maybe 99. And I really like it. I haven't picked up a ride cymbal yet for it. That's how new it is. Haven't picked up a ride, haven't picked up a crash. So, but I'll get there.
Very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got the mighty Tama behind me way in the corner. I got a Tama
Nice.
kit.
Yeah, I used to have a Tama kit. And before that I had a Ludwig, and before that I had a Slingerland. So
Wow.
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What an evening.
So sorry. Yeah,
No.
toys. Katie and I, my fiance Katie, she and I have collected stuff basically our whole lives. We worked together when we were in Freddy's Nightmares together in '88, and we didn't get together until about 10 years ago. And but my whole life I've been collecting Star Wars shit and Hot Wheels and just all sorts of crap. Movie posters, dude. I have that poster back there, the Halloween poster. I have an insane amount of stuff. And then when Katie and I got together, I found out that she also has an insane amount of stuff as far as like Barbies and things like that are concerned. So and dolls, dude, she's got some creepy ass dolls from like 1910 and 1920. They're just so creepy, dude. But yeah, the display back here, like last week, it was all Hot Wheels. And I just decided to like switch the set and specifically for you. So
Oh,
Wow.
awesome.
That is awesome.
so if you interview Katie coming up here, it'll be all like Barbies and shit. We'll switch it up every single time.
I'm sure our show friend Jeffrey Weissman, who is played Marty. No, did he play Marty? No, Marty's Michael J. Fox, right? He played George McFly. Would love the
Okay.
Back to the Future poster
Yeah, dude.
behind him.
Where is it? Right
Yep,
there.
that's it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's from a standee that I can't find the rest of it right now. I've got so much shit, and it's kind of all in different storage units, and then I'm getting pieces of it and putting it together.
So tell me a little bit about when you were a young man. Were you born in Illinois?
I was born in Champaign. Are we really going all the way back to when I was born?
Yes.
Okay, cool. No, because I did do my first commercial when I was 4 years old. So
Oh, sweet. Tell us about it.
I was born in Champaign, Illinois, and then my parents moved up to the Chicago area when I was. They moved up to Elmhurst, Illinois, when I was like a year old, and then I was raised in Elmhurst, and then. Like I said, did my first commercial when I was 4 years old. I was literally walking down the street, and my neighbor came out, and he was vice president of the local Chevrolet dealer. And he turned to me and said, "Hey, Craig, we're doing a commercial. Would you like?" Donald Fenton is that guy's name. And he turned and said, "Hey, Craig, would you like to do our commercial?" And I was like, "Yeah, what am I going to say no?" And I'm 4. And so I got to stand out there and applaud when new cars were being trailered in. And so I saw myself like 2 weeks later on TV and was just like, "Oh, I'm doing this forever." I didn't want to. There was no other thing that I ever wanted to do than just, hey, there I was. I did the job, and yeah, I don't even remember. I don't think I got paid. But I don't remember what was. I'm sure there was some food of some kind for somebody, but yeah, I don't think I got paid on any of that. But I then started doing like talent shows, and because singing was really my first thing. And then I picked up a drum set later on. Like I was in probably like 8th grade or 7th grade before I started playing drums. And then, but I was playing cornet before that, and I was trying all sorts of different things. And as far as the artist in me or the musician in me was, and so I started doing talent shows, and I did a Elvis impersonation, Elvis Presley impersonation. I actually won awards for my Elvis impersonation.
Wow,
So,
that's cool, man.
yeah, at South Shore Music and Dance, South Shore, Chicago, dude. I won awards and it was all black audience and basically an all black talent show. They had it was Cool in the Gang that were the guys from South Shore Music and Dance that were actually sponsoring the whole thing. I had Cool in the Gang as my backup for doing Elvis, and I won 3rd place in that talent show, dude. And I'm just impressed with myself. I'm like, these all of them were like amazing artists, and then like this white dude just steps in, and I'm like, yeah, I got 3rd. I'm good. Yeah. So, and that was in high school. I attended the Chicago Academy for the Arts, and that was just an amazing experience for me. I knew I wanted to be a part of the entertainment business, and went down and auditioned for them when I was in the 8th grade, and then went to a callback audition, and they accepted me, and they had me do some acting, which I really like. The majority of my stuff was music. I really hadn't done any acting, and I'd done some stupid play, and I don't even know, like background in some plays in junior high and shit, but nothing that would make me want to act, and as part of my artistry. When I got accepted, they immediately threw me into Theater 1, and but they also threw me into dance classes. They threw me into jazz classes. They threw me into modern classes. They threw me into ballet class. At the time, and this is 1980, whatever the hell, and I was like, they said, "What's your favorite type of dance?" And I'm like, "Safety dance," which is that freaking stupid ass song. And I'm like, favorite type of dance. What are you talking about? So I was kind of forced, because of the Chicago Academy. The PE requirement was dance, and so I was kind of forced over a 4-year period of time to dance. And I took all sorts of different class: jazz, ballet, modern. I'm a horrible dancer, right? But you got to do what you got to do. I guess it makes me more agile, and I guess it helps in bed. I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, there's got to be something about being a little more flexible. So, then I graduated from the Chicago Academy, and I attended the American Academy. But while I was at the Chicago Academy, I started doing a whole bunch of extra roles, and I'm trying to just dude, you could just read 27 and All Washed Up. I wrote all this shit down, dude, man. I wrote
I got you.
27 and All Washed Up. What?
I got you.
I'm rattling off like everything in 27 and All Washed Up.
As a young man growing up, and you're in high school now.
Yes.
What films touched you in a way that made you want to become an actor, or what actors inspired you to also want to become an actor?
I went to school with, I don't know if you can see what I've got hanging over there. I've got whoa, what happened?
High Fidelity.
Yeah, I've got High Fidelity.
Yes.
Okay. So I actually, John Cusack went to the Chicago Academy for a minute. So I was hanging out with all of these people right when they were all starting. Like Layla Hathaway went to the Chicago Academy. I'm blanking right now. Doug Spinuzza went to Chicago Academy.
Was Jeremy Piven part
Jeremy
of that crowd?
Piven, he wasn't there. He was hanging out a lot, but he never went to the Chicago Academy, and I don't know if that had something to do with the Piven players, but because he had his own school, his dad had
his family had their school, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. But he was. I did see him a lot, and he's a big part of Chicago theater, and then I started doing extra work, and I know your question is what movies. But I started like I did Weird Science and as an extra and got to know Robert Downey Jr. and got to know John Hughes and actually got yelled at by the extras coordinator for talking to John Hughes when it was John fucking Hughes that was talking to me. So, I'm like, oh, wait, I'm supposed to ignore when the director is talking to me? No, I'm not supposed to ignore. I'm supposed to talk to him, dude. And I talked to him like he was a human, and he was talking to me like I was human. We actually met in the breakfast line at the caterer, and he was like, wait, somebody saying something? Sorry, I missed it.
No, it was just somebody saying hello. I was giving him a friendly wave. Kenneth Bouchard, another artist who's just a wonderful guy out in Altoona, Pennsylvania, was saying hello. So I was just sorry. I didn't mean to wreck your train of thought.
No, that's okay. I met him at the breakfast trailer or the breakfast caterer, and we were eating breakfast burritos together, and I suddenly became like a featured extra. We were actually talking about like the Cars video and stuff like that. We weren't talking about anything that had anything to do with Weird Science. And it was everything to do about, like, he didn't want to know that it was about some crazy chick, that the Drive video, was that it was about some crazy chick. He didn't care to know that. And it was like, he was sure that it came from a director, that it came from not the artist's point of view, but it came from a director's point of view. And he said it's kind of ruins it when he'd rather see the artist's point of view. So, but we were talking about shit like that, and I got yelled at, and I was like, look, I don't know. What are you going to do? Fire me for talking to the director? And now you can't, because I'm featured in a couple of things. You can see me when he gets the slushie dropped on top of his head. You can see me right in back of Kelly LeBrock when she's going up the escalator, and you can see me in you can't see me in the party sequence. I'm too far back. But in the party sequence, I'm outside, and my friend Derek Geiser is outside, and Michelle Bialki. There were a number of different actors that went to the Chicago Academy that were all going to be extras with me. And then what? I'm sorry, I'm getting notes thrown at me. Oh yeah. No. Okay, yeah, whatever. So that's later on in the story. I'm not even there yet, dude. Wow. Like I'm not going to be, I got my producer over here going, you got to make sure to talk about this, make sure to talk about that. Like, I'm not leading to it. I might forget.
No,
so
I get you. Somebody was asking if this is about Weird Science, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
But it's about the movie, because I heard the slushy scene is in.
Yeah, it's about the movie.
Yeah.
And then my car, you can see my 78 Cadillac, I think that was a 2-door Coupe de Ville. I'm not positive, but it's copper color. Dude, they thrashed the shit out of my paint job in that, because a storm comes through, and like they were blowing sand, and they were blowing, like, that car got sandblasted. And they paid me like $50 to use my car. So I thought that was cool. So my car's in the storm scene, but I'm way back in the crowd in that. So
that's the house party scene when the crazy bikers come in.
Yep.
Yeah. I sat through that movie a million times in my life. Yep. I love that movie.
Yeah. Oh, that was such a blast to work on. And then I worked on Class with Rob Lowe and Andrew McCarthy. And
Cusack's in that too.
yeah, he is. And yeah, he's smoking a joint in the hallway. I was just down the hall in that scene, and you can barely see me when they're talking about Jacqueline Bisset and in the church. You can barely see me. I'm too there. I'm camera right. So I'm over to the other side or that side. I'm looking at myself on screen. Which side am I really on? And then I'm in the middle of a field when they're all coming back from Christmas break, and you can see me walking in the middle. I'm like this big, but you can see me walking in the middle of the field.
It's funny.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I felt the whole time that Rob Lowe was hitting on me. I just, for some reason, I don't know why. I don't know if it's just that he's that charming, or if he was hitting on me.
It's funny. I share a similar story. Back when I think I was 14 or 15 years old, I was an extra in a film called Heaven Help Us. And I was in a schoolyard scene with Patrick Dempsey.
Don't mean to interrupt, but I am drinking from a Tinkerbell coffee cup.
I like that. My daughter would be very happy.
She's
a
I should have brought my Star Wars coffee cup down here, but no, I got my Tinkerbell. My Tinkerbell.
And in that scene, Stephen Jeffries, who was also in that movie playing handball, and I became friends while that film was shot. And 30 years later, he stars in my film Mr. Hush. Isn't that funny how that all
nice?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Mr. Hush, do not ruin the ending for me. I am about a half hour out of the ending, and dude, it is creepy as fuck. This film is. Dude, it stays with you.
I appreciate that.
Oh my god, dude! I'm walking around going, "Where's this guy?" And is he in the house? Is he already here? What's happening, dude? It really stays with you, and the images stay with you.
What's fun. It's funny about that movie is that it was supposed to be a loving contemporary reinvention of 80s horror movies.
Cool.
And in 2000s, 10s, or it's a hard sell to make a movie that actually fits in the 80s.
Right.
So it was there are people out there who absolutely adore the movie, and there are people out there who don't.
Right.
So
no, it feels that way. It feels very 80s, and that's a really cool part of that, knowing that it was made later. So that's really cool.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's creepy as fuck. And don't ruin the ending for me.
I won't. I know Katie, your lovely fiance, told me when she was on the show that you were a big fan of the Clerks films, and of course our co-host Scott Schiaffo is here. Mm-hmm. But in our green room, if he's still available, I'd like to bring him up. Mr. Ridgely, can you pop on for a minute?
Absolutely.
What's going on, sir?
Is our other guest still available?
He is.
Without further ado, a pop culture icon, the face of the Clerks franchise, Dante himself, Mr. Brian O'Halloran.
Dude. No.
Your mic is off. Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow.
How are you, Mr. O'Halloran?
I'm doing good. I'm quite jealous of the classic Star Wars cases in his back corner there. Quite jealous. I have a small little collection of my bullshit that I have, but
right, dude, this isn't even that's not even like half of my shit.
All right, okay.
That's not even.
Mr.
That's not even close. That's like a corner.
Slow your fucking roll, brother.
No, dude, I got a crazy amount of Star Wars shit. Just a crazy amount. And I continue, dude. I have to go over to Burbank, Illinois, and pick up a freaking Millennium Falcon that I just bought.
Listen, I'm broadcasting in the back room of the Millennium Falcon, bruh.
Nice.
You know what's funny, Craig? Brian has told me many a story about how every time when he was a younger man and he had some extra money in his pockets, he would go out and collect Star Wars figures. So he's telling you the truth.
I didn't have extra money in my pocket. Me and my dad hustled pool in the bars of the Bronx in New York City, and I got my percentage went to Star Wars.
Nice. I just met a guy, and he works at Petco. I don't know, whatever. But he said that he and his mom would go and buy a Star Wars toy, and for every Star Wars toy that he bought, she would buy one in package and keep it in package. So he's got basically a museum in his basement of every single
smart.
Star Wars toy.
That is smart. See, back in the day, I was a 7-year-old who just wanted to play with them.
No, dude, I've got Luke Skywalker with his head cut off over here. I've got, I've stormtroopers that are got like red paint on them because I took, nail polish and put it on them. Some of these are from when I, was a kid. So others I picked up.
I'm not gonna lie. There may have been 1 or 2 action figures at one point that were torched with a can of hairspray and a lighter. I'm just saying, it might have been 1 or 2 times in my childhood where we did.
My Evil Knievel, the one with the motorcycle, and he's got the little vinyl. I've got his shark left over, but I wound him up and set him on fire with Cox fuel for remote control airplanes, and he went down the driveway with this bright blue flame shooting off of him, and just everything was melted by the end of it. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's when kids were allowed to buy lighter fluid. I love it.
We were for our remote control planes.
Hey, seriously, when I lived in the Bronx in the 70s, my dad would give me money and go down and get me a 6-pack of Schaefer and a pack of Benson
and a pack of cigarettes. Oh yeah.
And I went to the store around the corner, and Angie, the owner's like, "Here you go, bring that back to your dad." And because she knew that if I ever took the beer and cigarettes and went off and didn't deliver to my dad, A, my dad would kill me, but B, I would lose all cred with the store that I would never be able to do anything. So true story. God's honest truth.
Craig, I want to ask you a question. I see that when you were a young man, you got to work on an episode of Highway to Heaven.
Right.
Now, sadly, I don't recall the episode that you were on, but did you get to work with Michael Landon?
I got to work with Michael Landon. I got to work with Victor French. I got to work with Ken Kercheval. He was on that episode as my father. And Lenora Kasdorf. She's a big soap actress. Also was on that episode as my mom. That to me was one of the. I will never forget that whole process. That to me was one of the most impactful as far as how, if I ever thought about producing and directing, how I would like my sets to be run. Because from the beginning to the very end of that whole process of filming with Michael Landon directed me in that as well. But through the whole process from the audition, which I went in there for one audition, and I think, was it Susan? It's Susan. God, I'm blanking on the casting director. Susan Scudder, I think. Wow. I hope I'm not saying the wrong one. But anyway, I walked in and I read for her, and she said, I think you'd be better for a different part. And can you read that part? And I said, yeah, I'll read that part. And then I read that part for her. She gave me like 15 minutes outside to read over my script. And I memorized it really quickly and just had it for her. And then read it for her. And she goes, okay, interesting. I want you to meet Michael. And I went, okay. And she walked out of the room, and I'm like, Michael, is there any other Michael that works for Michael Landon, other than Michael Landon? And Michael Landon walks through the fucking door. And I'm just like, I don't get starstruck. It just doesn't happen to me. I see all of these people as peers. I respect all of them as for what they do. And so I didn't get starstruck when I saw him. I'm impressed. Yeah, it's Michael Landon. And then he sat down and he said he wanted me to read the part, and I read the part, and he gave me a little bit of direction, had me read it again, and then he turned to me and said, "Okay, you've got the part. It's a weekly contract. I'm paying you $3,500 for the week, and that's it. And I'll give you 10% for your agent as well. So go outside." And at the time, I didn't have a cell phone. Nobody had cell phones. They didn't exist. And I went over he said, "Go out in the lobby and use the phone and call your agent and tell them what I just told you." And so I went out in the lobby, and there were dudes in the lobby that were auditioning, and they hadn't gone in yet. And I'm like, "Yeah, Michael Landon just told me that I booked the part." And I'm just like, I hope they're really not auditioning for my part, because I really crush the shit out of their hopes. But I'm like, "Yeah, Michael Landon just told me that I've got this, and it's 3,500, and it's 10 plus 10, and it's a week's worth, and we're there." And they were like, "Congratulations and good job negotiating," because there wasn't any negotiating with Michael Landon. So it was really, really cool experience. He would shoot all the rehearsals, and he would use some of the rehearsals, and then he would only do one take on everything. I think there was one scene that was really important that he wanted me to do 3 takes on, because he wanted a different feel for every single take. So, but other than that,
you mentioned that this would be the type of set you'd want to run. He gave you that kind of feeling like, man, this is what I want to do. So as every actor is always saying at some point in their career, I love acting, I love being a part of it, but what I really want to do is direct. Is that something that's in your toolkit that you eventually want to pull out?
Yeah. Yes. And it was then as well. I was always watching for... I had directed a little claymation animated film when I was in 8th grade. And
perfect way to start. The actors don't talk back.
The actors do not talk back. And actually, you're the actor, because I added sound to that claymation. So it was great. I was directing myself. It was really easy. But yeah, I always had directing in my mind, and definitely producing in my mind. When like things like, not only did he do just one take, but like everybody, like there was a Lakers game. Lakers were in the championships that year, and there was a Lakers game on one of the days that they were filming, and everybody wanted to be out of there by 3 o'clock because he had gotten tickets for everybody. So, and everybody wanted to be out of there by 3, and to the Staples Center, or at the time, the Forum. So
and you realize that's a 6 out of 10 years that story actually works, where the Lakers were in the championship, because they were in the championship so many times. Like, either that or the Bulls, and then it's like, all right, well, now I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, they were in the championship that year, and he had gotten tickets for everybody on the set, and they all wanted to be out by 3 o'clock. And all I saw that day, we started at 7. Everybody was out by 3 goddamn o'clock, dude. Everybody was helping everybody do everything. It wasn't like there was one person doing something. Everybody was making sure that everything was set and everything was done so that everybody could get the hell out of there. It was really cool to watch. Also, he had things like his driver. Sorry, I'm freezing balls down here for some reason. Are my teeth chattering? I am freezing balls. I need a heater or some shit. Because all of a sudden the temperature dropped. We went from 80 degrees in Chicago to like, I don't even know what it is, 40 something right now, 42, something stupid. But anyway, no, do not turn on the heater. Anyway, I forgot where I was because I'm freezing balls.
Well,
I've got
speaking of
brain-
freezing balls, let's jump to how did you land a role in Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Oh, dude. No, come on. I got to go back to. I didn't finish that story. What was I talking about?
You're
Freezing
talking
balls.
about the Lakers and
I
Landon.
was
And
talking about the Lakers.
I'm
and
sorry.
Miami. Oh, yeah, no, I got to finish that
I
story.
rewound the tape. Freezing balls.
This is what I was talking about.
While everybody was trying to get ready for the game.
Anyway, he had his driver was his driver for 25 years. So things like that are things that I'm talking about. Like I'd like to have people around me if I get to that point that will stay around me, and and that also appreciate what it is that we're doing overall. Oh, really? Nice. I got a jacket thrown at me. That's great. Like I'm such a wuss.
freezing balls.
Everybody's
Really got a
leaving.
jacket thrown at me. That's awesome.
Jersey got really cold today too. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's this thing called climate change.
Zing!
I know people don't believe, but it is really happening.
Science.
Yeah, it's this thing called facts. And when you dump too much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, you screw it up. That's all it is, and that's all we've done in the industrial age. That's it. Is dump way too much carbon dioxide and now wastewater into our oceans. Oh, come on. It's just going to screw everything up, and we have to survive. Yeah. I don't know if that's actually possible, dude. There's too much red tape. I didn't want to get into any of this. I'm actually a certified Illinois Department of Transportation concrete inspector. I actually have worked for the Illinois Department of Transportation.
I lost everything after you said you were certifiable. What?
Well, hey, 70% of the people that tried to get certified that day or that week failed. So it does take something to get a certification for the Illinois Department of Transportation.
Nice.
I do happen to know a lot about concrete and a lot about construction.
Let me ask you this. Can I ask you this? With that certification, can you drive on the Kennedy and the HOV lane without another person in the car?
I can if I have my little orange light, and I can if I'm doing something on that road. Actually, sure. I'm like, I got to get to this job. Yeah.
Once a year, I'm in Chicago, and I'm always like from the airport back on the Kennedy, or if I'm on Lakeshore trying to go down past Soldier Field down to McCormick or what have you. And I'm like, man, this place needs HOV lanes like real HOV.
Dude, no. That whole Jane Byrne intersection thing has been a clusterfuck my entire life, dude. I think it's permanent. I think it's a permanent fucking thing. And I had arguments with different engineers while I worked for the Illinois Department of Transportation about the Jane Byrne interchange. Dude, it's a fucking nightmare. They should have gone like triple or quadruple decker or at 10 stories worth of freeway a long time ago. Just
for those joining us,
dude, instead they're widening it like a bunch of retards.
For those of you joining,
I'm not being politically incorrect. I mean it scientifically. They are slowed and hindered.
For those who are joining us late, you've now reached the Chicago traffic report show, where we're just talking what really annoys
weather and traffic.
Around
It's fighting weather as well, dude. I could easily be a weatherman.
It can't be any worse.
I went to Penn State. I took weather at Media 101 at Penn State. What was that? Sorry.
I was saying you already talked about the weather. It's freezing balls.
It's freezing balls. Dude, my
you.
weather report would be fan-fucking-tastic. Are you kidding?
It can't be any worse than the LIE in Queens. I guarantee you that.
Well,
That is true.
all the weathermen suck. All of them suck. They all suck. There's Tom Skilling here in Chicago, WGN. That dude, he gets paid $1.8 million a year. He is wrong 70% of the time. What the fuck? If I was wrong 70% of the time on anything, I'd be fired. Oh,
This is literally like Harrison Ford, The Fugitive. We have a massive train wreck here, my friend. Let's get back
am I
on the
allowed
tracks.
to swear? Am
Well-
I being too angry?
No, you're fine. Again, tell
Are
us
there
about
children?
Star Trek: The Next Generation, damn it. Looking very Rico Suave in that picture. my
Oh,
friend.
thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
So tell us about it.
Okay.
Was that
oh, yeah.
Chicago?
Well, my agent at the time, I was, for some reason, the one agent that was the lead agent on Star Trek for those auditions wouldn't get me into an audition. And I'm like, this is a goal. I at some point after I graduated the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, I made certain shows a goal as far as acting is concerned. 21 Jump Street was a goal. Star Trek was a goal. 90210 was a goal. And I was like, these are shows that I really want to be on. And I couldn't get an audition for like 2 years, 3 years. Could not get an audition for Star Trek, and my agent just would not send me out on it, and I was getting really pissed. And because I'm like, I'm perfect for this, I want to be on this, and been a Trekkie. My brother was a Trekkie, and I was like, I really want to do this. It's so iconic, and I went. And I drove, at the time I was driving a 1967 Oldsmobile Cutlass 442 convertible. Okay. That was the car that I had. And I drove up to Paramount Studios one day, which is where they film TNG. And I said, hi, I'm Craig Hurley, and my uncle should have left a pass for me. I said that at the guard gate. I said, my uncle should have left a pass for me here. I'm going to meet him for lunch. And I just sat there and waited for the guard to go through all the passes, because at the time, that's the way they did it. And he went through all the passes, and he looked over at my car, and then went back over and looked over at me, and then went back over the passes, and he's looking through the passes. There's no fucking pass in there. And he turns and he goes, I'm not finding a pass, but do you know where your uncle's office is? And I was like, yeah, it's right over there. And he goes, okay, well, just park in the visitors area and everything will be fine. I go, my car will be fine, park there. And he's like, yeah, you're fine. And I was like, okay, cool, thanks, man. And I drove in and I parked in the visitors area. And then I got out and I had a stack of 8x10s with me. And I walked around to every single casting director in Paramount Studios and dropped off my 8x10. And a couple of them knew me. And a couple of them were like, what? Why are you on the lot? And I was like, I had an audition for so-and-so. So I just wanted to stop by and say, hey, and here's my current 8x10 and my current resume. And I got to, what's his face? Chris Carter's office. And I walked in and I said, hey, I'm Craig Hurley. I just wanted to drop off my 8x10 to reception. And Chris is standing right there. And he goes, Craig? And I was like, yeah. He goes, who are you with? And I was like, I'm sorry, not Chris Carter. Holy fuck, I'm thinking X-Files.
Yeah, I'm thinking
that's a whole other fucking story. I'm talking Chris fucking Berman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where am I at? Yes?
Chris Berman, yes.
Chris
that's
Berman,
Star
thank you very much. Holy shit, dude. No, Chris Carter is also, that's on another story, and I never got on X-Files, but I'm a big fan of his, and he's a big fan of mine. Yeah, Chris Berman's standing right there, and he's like, Craig, you look great for this show. Why haven't you ever been in here? And I'm like, I don't know. And he goes, can you read this for me? And he gave me just some stupid shit to memorize and to read real quick. I don't even know what it was. And he goes, okay, that's good. Do you think you can speak Klingon? And I'm like, I don't know. I can try to learn. And he goes, because I've got a part that's Worf's son, if you want to audition for that. And then he goes, and I also got this other thing that I'm thinking about in a couple episodes, but definitely audition for this. And immediately I got the fucking audition. Dude, just walking through the fucking door, I got the audition for TNG. And then 2 weeks later, I was on TNG as an ensign. And in that episode, I'm the first person on the Enterprise to start going crazy on the other ship. So, which, dude, that was so much fun. It was so much fun being on that set. Oh my God. The first person that I met was Sir Patrick Stewart, and he actually walked up to me. I didn't walk up to him. He walked up to me, and as the freaking captain, and that he is, and introduced himself, and started introducing me to everybody else. And then, yeah, it was really cool, dude. And then gave me a tour of like different aspects of like behind the scenes of shit. I can't even think. Dude, the control, just at the bridge, like there's plastic, like like anytime you see lights going across, like there'll be an entire Enterprise and on one of and there's lights going across it. It's really just this like light bulb, and it's a piece of plastic with little tiny pieces of the lights poked out of it in the shape of the Enterprise, and on a piece of wood. And that's all the set is. And with a light bulb on the back with these little electronic flags that are on this little tiny motor that goes around and around and around, and it spins around the light bulb so that it'll go by the front or it'll go by the back of the Enterprise, but cut off the light so that it'll go brrr, 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 so it'll skip. Dude, I was totally blown away at how how basic and how just like so simple this all was, and how cool everything seemed to us.
So the Mego playsets were actually identical to them. That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, dude. I have one of those. It's not here. I have one of those playsets, the Star Trek ones that you spin it. Yeah, and you can put a light behind it and kind of spin it the same way.
Okay. That's an awesome story.
Madness.
Something else I want to touch on, because I'm an enormous Warlock fan. I love both they're just fun movies, man. They're just fun.
Okay.
Why, you didn't like the first Warlock or the second Warlock, which you starred?
No, I liked them.
Okay.
I didn't. It's not that I didn't like them. I'm just wondering why you do.
Because Julian Sands is a great character actor. The scene in the Amish country is just classics. You know, the guy goes, "There's a sweating horse. The Warlock must be coming." I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
There's a sweating horse. The Warlock must be coming.
Yes. And it was just when I was 18 or 19, you know, that's just fun stuff. But now I won't talk to you about Warlock again, because it doesn't seem like you really want to.
No, wait a minute. I gotta say, Craig, you definitely win the award. You know, it used to be John Cougar Mellencamp, but you won the award for the best mullet in that movie.
Oh, thank you. No. Yeah, dude.
We gotta have a picture.
Where is it?
I don't have the picture.
Oh, come on.
Oh, I'll go find the picture.
There's definitely one out there. No, I've got a couple of cool pictures with my mullet. Dude, I had a mullet that John Stamos should envy. My mullet was really pretty. It was really pretty, dude.
Okay.
So yeah, I was wearing a mullet in that film. No, I had a really good time. Anthony Hickox directed that. Chris Young.
You also did a great movie called Waxwork.
Oh, dude, Waxwork is awesome. Waxwork is crazy awesome. It's another one of those movies that sticks with you.
With Zach Galligan, who
no
was
pun intended on sticks.
Which was in Warlock Armageddon with you.
Right.
And the lovely Tiffany Shepis is saying, "I need to grow a mullet." Thank you, it's very kind of you, Tiffany.
Well, you could actually just grow it out and back right there, and leave it short in the front, dude. My
I
mullet
might
actually had like, it was long enough so that it kind of hung down. My mullet kind of hung down, and I actually could wave it. I could do this whole like almost mohawk thing with it.
Sweet.
Yeah. But yeah, Chris Young was in Warlock as well, and Paula Marshall. I just came in contact with a director friend of mine, or reunited with a director friend of mine named Artie Glacken, who was reminding me that he was actually on that set and on some of those shoot nights. So, and it was really cool just to be like kind of rehashing that. So,
Wow. When did you make the? You're talking, all that stuff happening in Chicago. When did you go from Chicago to out west?
well, when I was at the Chicago Academy, and then I auditioned. It was either New York or Los Angeles, and I was getting into theater, and only because I was taking a lot of theater classes, and also I started attending Second City, and started attending Second City classes, and I also started auditioning for a lot of plays in Chicago as well. And I booked something at Victory Gardens called Levitation. So that was a play that I did when I was in high school, and that was with Bill Applebaum and Fern Persons. And Fern Persons ended up being like 102 years old when she died. And dude, she did her last commercial when she was 100 years old. She did it at her bedside. And these Chicago actors, we're diehard, dude. We'll continue to act when we're dying. So, so it was really cool to be in something with that. She was in Hoosiers. Fern's actually really well known. And then it was either New York when I graduated from the Chicago Academy. It was either New York or LA. And I really wanted to do TV because I had also done an episode of Lady Blue in high school. And that's where I got my first guest starring role. And that was in Chicago. And that was with Danny Aiello and Jamie Rose. And Danny Aiello, dude, by the way, threw one of the meanest fastballs. Dude, super fast fucking fastball, like 110 miles an hour, stung my hand. And like, I played catch with a lot of different people in different parking lots of different sets. And like Billy Crystal, same thing, man. He's got a super mean fastball. And dude, sorry, I went way off. Yeah, it was either New York or Los Angeles. And I auditioned for the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I also had Northwestern wanted me to stay in Chicago because the head of the theater department wanted me to stay and go to Northwestern. And there was somewhere else. Some party school. I think it was Arizona State or some shit was like, hey, come this direction. And I'm like, oh no. So yeah, because that's all they were now, or Arizona State or Iowa State. I don't know, one of those. And they had a decent theater department, but dude, it was known to be a party school. So when I got accepted from the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, they had a sister school in Pasadena, and I said, I'm going to Pasadena. And that's when I decided to go to LA. And my agent in Chicago set me up with the Gage Group in Los Angeles. So I immediately had an agent there too. So I was okay. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, before we end, there's something that I was super. Yeah, we're running late, believe it or not.
What?
Yes.
Dude, I've just been talking your ear off. Sorry, man.
Something you guys sent me that I thought was really, really awesome. You guys, you and Katie were working on a graphic novel called Daylight Sucks, which is
right.
Just a really, really fantastic vampire superhero graphic novel series. I don't know why Joe has a close-up on me, but it was really just great. Joe, do you have some pictures I sent to you early of the comic book, and I want to touch base with Craig on them.
I'm going to leave you hanging because pre-show I thought you had a physical, and that's why I brought you up full screen because you were going to do that. But never mind now. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Well, I
Totally
can't,
back you
I
up,
can't
Joe.
actually open
Does
the
have
books.
practical. There it is.
there you go. That's
I
why
can't
brought-
open up the books and show pictures though. But
Why
here
not?
is the series.
Okay.
Yes,
It
you
was-
can.
So you have the physical copies though.
You
Yes,
can throw
I
them.
have
You
to-
can open them up.
All right. No, David, just for that, you got to deal with the mullet now.
Oh, okay. I get them all. Rain on the scarecrow, blood on the plow.
Oh yeah.
woo!
That was awesome, by the way,
The
brother.
rockin' mullet, man.
Now let me tell you about Daylight Sucks. What it was a wonderful.
There we
See,
go.
you got like he didn't have them really. Okay.
There it is.
These are
And
the
there's
covers
the-
of.
That's number 3. That's issue. The cover. That's issue number 1. No, right there.
And where's the cool vampire one I pulled out, man? There you go.
Yeah, and
Now-
that's James, and he is landing on top of a border patrol's truck. A border patrol at the border who is attempting to rape an immigrant who
Who's
is coming
crossing the
across
border. Yes. Well, just
Who's crossing the border illegally.
I will tell you, and then I'll let you explain more about the graphic novels and if you know what you guys plan on doing with them. They are so fantastically written and well drawn. The storytelling harkens back to, for me, it has a feeling of great vampire films of the past, like Dusk Till Dawn. It has a little bit of a Lost Boys vibe, a little bit of a Near Dark vibe.
Wow.
And it's just so well written. The concept behind it, I don't know if you want how far you want me to go about telling the storyline, but it really just blew my mind how well thought out each character was, how well drawn it was. And in all honesty, if it was a steaming piece of shit, I would tell you. But it's
Thank you.
really, it's really.
No, especially you guys. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, it really, really is a fantastic. Was a fantastic graphic novel series, and dare I say, it would make a great either television show or motion picture. But I would have you let everybody know, because I don't know how comfortable you are with how much information you want out about the actual storyline.
Well,
but, it's pretty epic.
yeah. I can start back when I was like in junior high and I was being bullied, and I was like, you know, if there was a superhero of some kind that could just come and bully the bully, I don't want the bully dead. I just want the bully bullied so that he leaves me the fuck alone, right? And I was like, can that happen? And then could it be something that is supernatural? Could it be something that is, I don't know, a vampire? And I was like, it'd be really cool if there was a vampire that would come in and bully the bully and be like, I could just rip your throat out, but I'm choosing not to. Leave Craig alone. You know, that type of stuff. And as I went along through life, I witnessed people being mean to each other, and I'm a fairly sensitive dude when it comes to shit like that, and I tend to really feel for the victims and really want the victims to actually be able to do the same shit that the people that victimize them are doing, that their abusers are doing, whatever the abuse is, to be able to do the same shit back to them, just so that they know how it actually feels. Now, normally with bullying, so as I've gotten older, I understand that with bullying, you've got a kid that's usually bullying a kid, but that kid that's bullying is usually being bullied by somebody else, and that's normally a parent that's doing that, or an elder of some kind, an aunt, an uncle, whatever the hell. but somebody older than them that they respect is usually bullying them. So it gets, that's the only trickle down that actually happens that way. It's trickle down violence. So I was witnessing all of these atrocities that people do to each other. And when I was in writer's boot camp in Los Angeles, and this is 1990, it was after Nasty Boys, and it was Nasty Boys, a TV series that I had for Dick Wolf. And there it is. Jeff Cake, Dennis Franz, Benjamin Bratt, Don Franklin, and James Pax are all in that picture.
God, I love Dennis Franz in Die Hard 2, man, when he's the the prick who's running the airport, man. What a great role.
Yeah. Oh, no, he was filming that when he was filming Nasty Boys. It was cool. He went off and was filming that, and we were doing other scenes for like 2 weeks without him. Yeah, that's a whole other experience. We'll talk about it some other time. So I'm witnessing all the atrocities that are happening to people that they're doing to each other. And I was at Writers Boot Camp, and I'm sitting down and I'm like, I want to write a movie about a vampire family, a vampire clan that all have missions, and the missions are child abuse, LGBTQIA plus, well, at the time LGBTQ or LGBT, but rights, animal rights, women's rights, anywhere where we find that there has been victims and that there has been either oppressors or abusers. And then I was like, and these people should hunt down the abusers, these vampires, this family should hunt down and kill or treat them the same way, depending on what they did, depending on what their crime is, or what you would consider a crime. It's more moral than it is an actual illegal thing. And because the illegalities go out the window when you're doing eye for an eye for someone that will, like one of the stories, because I take all of the stories from actual news events, and I'm not talking fake news, I'm talking real news, because we do enough stuff to each other. One of the stories is a pedophile who gets out of jail, and Ava, the lead, picks him up and takes him out and starts tearing him to shreds, just like he did all the little kids. So that's how they. She picks him up and takes him out to the middle of the Everglades, and then actually chains him to a tree, and then shreds him apart and piece by piece, so that he can know how it feels, that what he did to those kids, or to those young men in this instance. So things like that, and those are derived from stories like John Wayne Gacy here in Chicago. So that the Allen Wicks, the Allen Wick clan, the vampire family, all go after douchebags, and they are chosen by Ava Allen Wick, who is wait, I can't even read what it's saying though. I don't know if that's James or if that's, I can't read what it's saying. For some reason, the letters are blurry. I should know. I didn't draw it, but I had Juan Pablo Solarte is my graphic artist, and he draws every single frame by hand, and then sends me a picture of the sketch, and then I approve the sketch or not, and we adjust the sketches. And Juan Pablo, he lives in Cali, Colombia, the country in South America. Just so you all know, there are Americas in all of this. We live in the United States, by the way. But in South America, in Colombia, there is such a place. He lives there, and he sorry, I don't mean to be a smartass. It's just what I am. He sends me the sketches and via the internet, and then I'll, like I said, I'll approve them or whatever, and we'll adjust them. And then Brigitte, our colorist, lives in Spain, and she will send her all of that information, and then she colors in all of the frames depending on whether or not we want them colored in. Because sometimes Robert Kirkman from Walking Dead, all of his stuff was black and white, and black and white sketches with some color, but majority were black and white. And I was like, well, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. And also it's actually cheaper. So when, one comic book cost me 10 grand. So, you got to at some point as a producer really think about what you're spending your money on, and also what actually makes a bigger impact on whether or not this particular frame is colorized artistically.
The one thing that me and Scott can give you absolute certainty with, black and white does add a certain ambiance to a film or to a project. So you're not going to get any argument from me and Scott, that's for sure, about black and white.
Cool.
Just saying.
No, I totally agree, actually, that it does, depending on what it is. The Alan Wick clan, which Ava Alan Wick, who is drawn, if you want to put up another picture, Katie Barberi is the person who I have drawn.
Joe, put one of the covers up.
Katie Barberi, and I can tell you the rest of the cast too. All of these actors are actors. I have them signed with licensing agreements for their faces so that I can use for their image, so that I can use them for this comic book. And let's see, Ava is the one dressed in black. She's the mom, and the one right there dressed in black. And then and that's Katie Barberi. And Tyler is in the middle, Tyler Alvarez, and that's James Allen Wick. And then Paris Smith is the little blonde girl, and both Tyler and Paris were on Every Which Way with Katie. And that's also part of why I decided to write Daylight Sucks. But I'll get into that in a minute. And she's playing Madison. And then George Allen Wick is Ava's husband, and that is Ada Bethke, and he is a telenovela star who has, he's doing, I don't even know what novella he's doing right now, but he's got just as many novellas as Katie does. Mm-hmm. He's done like 20 in his career, just a crazy amount of telenovelas. And then Autumn Wendell is playing Ashley, and I should have went through their rights. Like Tyler James is he's territory. He doesn't want any boundaries in the world, so he flies around the world trying to protect people that are trying to cross different borders. And then Ava is children's rights, and that's Katie. Paris and Madison is women's rights. George is also children's rights because he's actually based on St. George. So he's kind of along those lines of children's rights as well. He ends up being a coroner, a lot like the dude in Twilight. Part of this is that yes, I am trying to make all of these characters very similar to what we've already seen, so that we can beat the shit out of all those myths that have been created about vampires and things like garlic. And it's like, How stupid can you be? They make food. They have stew. They have to have ingredients. There are spices. It's garlic is one of those. Garlic is a myth and only put up because some idiot went, hey, if it stops mosquitoes and stops fleas from biting us, it's going to stop vampires. No, it's not going to stop vampires. So, it's all the different myths that we have about vampires are things that I am attempting to attack on Daylight Sucks. So all of these characters that you see will be very similar to other. Okay, for some reason, it's saying my battery is running low. How can that be? Sorry, guys. Okay, it's not running low anymore. I'm gonna chop into all sorts of different vampire TV shows and movies that we've seen within this idea and combat and knock out all of those myths. And like I said, if somebody ever brings up a werewolf into this bitch, they're done. They're fired. They're gone. They're out. They're gone. Go away. So, because werewolves don't exist, but vampires do, right?
Damn!
No!
Zing!
Nice.
Well, there goes Full Moon Fever.
Fired.
Yep. Well, Craig, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I also want to say that Daylight Sucks was fantastic, and if I can help you guys in any way with that project, I'll be more than happy to. It was just a wonderful, wonderful story. The way it interacts with people who are sick was also a wonderful story.
Yeah, we've got some cancer patients in there that they're kids, and they get made into vampires so that because they're all terminal. Right. And that's one of George's things, that he brings them home one day and Ava is freaking out because she didn't want any more members of the family, especially kids. So she didn't want any of it to have to deal with that and wasn't prepared for it. So we've got all this like family dynamic stuff that happens as well, and the dysfunctionality of families. So I've put a lot of thought into this, and I can slap together vampire sequences. Like when I first wrote this, it's a bunch of vampire sequences all slapped together. And then Katie came in and started writing the love story aspect to all of it. She added heart to every single character, and that's exactly what it needed. So, it's easy to slap together vampire sequences.
No, the very concept of a vampire giving a sick kid eternal life is just such a cool concept, and it was just a really wonderful graphic novel. With that being said, Craig, thank you so much for joining us tonight and being on the
It was a pleasure.
At the end of the night. You and Katie are part of the family, and anytime you guys want to come on, we'd love to have you.
Thank you.
And actually only got through about half of your film catalog, so please join us again someday soon.
Okay. Yeah, call me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Craig Hurley.
Thanks, Scott. And thanks, Brian.
You got it, Craig. Awesome.
Good to see you.
Mr. Ridgely, can you pop on?
Certainly.
Since we've been on last, there are some things that happened. By the way, Craig was an amazing guest. Just a wonderful, wonderful show. Thank you again for joining us, Craig.
Absolutely. He taught me a valuable lesson. Rent an expensive-looking, cool-looking, or classic car. Pull up to the gate, say your uncle left you a pass, and you're in a studio, folks. You heard it here first.
Great move.
I should try that for sure. Since we've last been on, some big movies have come out, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on. I don't know if you've seen them, but what do you guys think of the Justice League 4-hour version?
Well, I did a whole show on it on the O'Halloran, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed they fleshing out a lot of the backstories of a lot of these characters. I like the fact that it was done in a chapter format. Surprisingly, I was part of a film that had kind of chapter titles before each chapter and segment, so that kind of pulled at me for that.
It might have been black and white too.
It should have been. Could have been.
Should've been,
Why
yeah.
not? It always saves money, as we've all learned again tonight. And so I enjoyed the Zach cut.
Scott, did you get to see it yet?
I have not.
Okay. Joe?
Oh, absolutely. I did the first night. I mean, come on, look at the Superman stuff behind me. It's, yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I thought that it brought everything together. Sorry, Joss Whedon. But yeah, I thought it was great, and I hope they continue on. Brian, what's your thoughts? Are they going to continue with it, or is it dead in the water?
The Zach thing? Listen,
Yeah.
it brought so much attention to HBO and HBO Max in general. And it was such a, wow, this is awesome, that I remember listening to the podcast that Kevin Smith does with Mark Burdiden, and they said, look, man, if HBO threw him a couple of mil to have him pump out one movie that was one storyline in this specific view of the universe, I'd watch it and make it just an HBO Max exclusive. Shit, that'd be worth it. I mean, look what Disney Plus is doing with all the side stories that they're doing for the Marvel's universe with Falcon and the Snowman and Falcon and Snowman.
I personally don't want to see Affleck done. I want to see a Batman movie with Affleck. I really
You know
do.
what's funny?
Why not?
I enjoyed it. I found it. I mean, it could have been shorter, but the 4.3 aspect ratio was just a weird choice. It made it look like a Linda Carter episode of Wonder Woman from
Yeah, it was the
1978.
IMAX ratio. I mean, I stretched it out on my TV, and
Is that the 4.3 is the IMAX ratio? That's the old television ratio.
what it was broadcasted in was the IMAX ratio. That's what he recorded in, I believe.
No, I think that's just standard. What was standard definition 4.3 television ratio, which is just kind of it was only in the center of the screen.
It didn't bother me whatsoever, the ratio of it. The story itself was so compelling that literally it's like the people who watch Clerks for the first time, black and white, fuck this, and then all of a sudden you forget that it's black and white. It was the same thing, I think, with the 4.3 ratio. I think once you got beyond the fact that, oh right, TVs were at one point this size.
I think though, when you have a big, no, I'm not putting the film down by any stretch of the imagination. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just think that when you have a big, multi-hundreds of $million film, that you're putting so much, eye candy in, it was just a weird decision. That's all I'm saying about it.
Okay, well, you still can get porn on a giant IMAX kind of width, I've been told. So,
And if you really want to, you can still see, Henry Cavill with the non-mustache thing in another cut.
Wasn't that Batman versus Superman, that non-mustache scene? That wasn't in Justice League. But they took out the part where Gleek was coming.
Gleek.
One part that I did honestly miss from the movie was that family in Russia that was warding
Why?
off.
It was unnecessary to begin with.
I don't know.
To be
I
honest
thought it
with
was.
you put the Flash on that task. That whole, hey Superman, hey Flash, let's rush to get all these civilians out of the way, as opposed to let's all combine our forces and just kill the guy and all this will be done with. I like the fact that they concentrated, and actually gave the Flash an actual task that if he failed, the whole thing is over with.
No,
so
I get it.
Not
I
just
like
him pushing Wonder Woman's sword with a finger.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Whedon's version allows Superman to be like the sole hero, where this one didn't, and I thought kind of Superman was undersold, but that's just me.
But the movie is called Justice League.
No, I get it.
And he got his black costume.
Yeah. What's up with that? I didn't understand what that meant.
He didn't have the mullet, and the black costume had a cape.
Well, I would believe, personally, I think someone coming from that planet would not come with, hey, I already have a red, white, and blue American thing. I thought the black costume was more in line with, someone coming from his planet to wear. I liked it. I thought it was dope. I was like, yeah, because he had a whole closet full of shit. I was like, yeah, look at that one. Look at that one. Oh, yeah, that's the underwater one.
No, I thought it actually, meant something to DC fans and comic book fans that I wasn't
Well,
getting.
it did.
Like
I
the
mean,
black.
it was that the Superman, when he actually returned, he returned in a black costume uniform,
Oh, he
but
did in the comic
did
books?
not have a cape,
Mhm.
and he had a mullet, a long hair,
Like
because he was being resurrected.
Like when Spider-Man's in his black costume, it's because he has the symbiote suit on. So I thought maybe there was something I didn't
No.
get. Okay, enough with Justice League. A much better film, much more important film. What did you guys think of Godzilla versus Kong?
Much better than Justice League.
Oh, far better.
There's a wrong there. That is
It
wrong.
was
Far better.
a great popcorn flick. It is exactly what you expect for that kind of movie.
Yeah,
Did you
cut.
see that's
If you went to
Scott
go
left.
see Kong, if you went to go see Kong versus Godzilla for a plot, you are sorely misguided. Cut the human aspect out of it, and shit was good. I think they dropped the ball. That how do they not go down in the core of the earth to have this battle as well? Was just like, why have that whole core of the earth scene if you're not going to utilize it in some great fashion? Listen, it's a great popcorn movie. I just put my brain on check and like, yeah, go get them. And that was pretty much it.
No, I thought the last 30 minutes of that film was pretty epic. But
I am just
it's a
grateful that
There's no
they-
humans in the last 30 minutes, so that's why it's epic.
and they didn't make it 4 hours long. So it
there's
was
no
an
humans
hour
in the
and
last
40
30 minutes of Justice League either.
What?
There are no humans in the last 30 minutes of Justice League either.
You're right. There's superhumans in the last.
There you go. There you go. It's the same shit.
It's not the same shit.
What's the difference between a superhuman and a
Because I
radioactive
can't
lizard?
talk to Kong, bro. You can't talk to Kong. You have a whole series, and then that ending with the Joker.
No, wait a minute. You can talk to Kong.
Yes.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Jane Goodall's entered the movie, and all of a sudden now we had a Jane Goodall fucking plot. Come on, bro.
I suspect that you guys are just Godzilla fans, and you are just in a bad mood because Kong, when he was not sedated, bitch slapped
The
both of them.
original 1933 King Kong is one of my favorite movies of all time. I actually have a poster of it hanging in my hallway. So I am a Kong fan, but when it would come to a battle, come on, bro. Nuclear fire coming out of a lizard would burn a hole right through Kong before he even knew it. So
when
that's
was
just-
the original Kong versus Godzilla?
It's a different thing.
60 something, 50 something.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Kong versus Godzilla, the original. When did it come out?
1964.
Before my time, maybe
I
David's.
wanted to see
I was 1 year
Godzilla
old.
ride on his tail and take off.
I was waiting for Godzuki to show up.
Godzuki, yes, from the animated show.
Who was
For
the little guy
spoilers.
who used to blow the smoke rings? Was that Godzilla's son?
Yeah, Godzuki.
It's Godzuki,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's all. No, I don't know. With that being said, gentlemen, I want to thank you all for joining, being on the show tonight. You know,
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
These things don't happen unless we all get together and make them happen. So, and Joe, thank you for being part of the family. You're a great guy.
Well, I appreciate that, and I hope I didn't bust too many balls tonight.
No, you never do. Mr. O'Halloran, do you have anything coming up in the future that people should be looking for?
I'm actually traveling down to the Gulf Coast area of Mississippi and Alabama. I'm going to be emceeing the United MSD Foundation Zebra Run, 4th annual Zebra Run. That's in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. You can go to curemsd.org to register. That's this coming Saturday of this coming week, but also this Friday and Saturday and Sunday, I will be making appearances at 2 shops, 3 Alarm Comics in Biloxi, Mississippi, and Gamers and Geeks in Mobile, Alabama. I'll be in Mobile, Alabama first with Gamers and Geeks on Friday night, and then Saturday, Sunday at 3 Alarm Comics in Biloxi, Mississippi. That's the best place to see me this coming weekend. I look forward to seeing my friends down there in the Mississippi Gulf and Alabama Gulf Coast.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mr. O'Halloran. As you know, you have a home on the show whenever you wish to come on, and thank you for always being there, being in my corner and coming on. And we will see you soon, hopefully.
Thanks for having me.
Good night.
Thanks, Brian.
So, gentlemen, our first standalone The End of the Night. What do you guys think?
I think it's fantastic. I think it was
Yeah, it was
spectacular.
pretty awesome, man.
Yes.
We
Craig
almost
was
had
pretty
Schiaffo freaking speechless.
Hey, man, I was just absorbing all of the amazing stories Craig was sharing.
I want to thank Craig Hurley for coming on. He was a amazing guest. He's a great guy. Make sure you check out all his films, and make sure you check out Daylight Sucks, his graphic novel series. The graphic novels are really, really well written. They're fun. If you're a fan of vampires and superheroes, you'll especially love them. It was just they're really just great stuff. The storytelling is fantastic. The concepts are great. So give it a look. Scott, do you have anything cooking that anybody needs to know about?
Well, I have some studio sessions coming up that I'm sorry, I'm clicking on something here, and if this doesn't work, it may or may not work. I'm doing some work on Sean Baker. Sean Baker, as from the Sean Baker Orchestra. Sean is an amazing guitar player. He's played with everybody from Paul Gilbert to Billy Sheehan to these are all guitar geek type gods. But Sean's also a big fan of the Viewers Universe, and he reached out to me to see if I would guest on something he's calling the Chuli's Gum Guy Boogie. So I'm doing my sections. You heard a little snippet of that. Excited about that. But keeping busy overall, but nothing else really in the immediate future. I'm hoping to get the shot soon so that I could feel a little more free to get things back to whatever this new normal is. But I'm very happy that we're back, and I'm really excited that we've got cool stuff planned for the not too distant future, and I really missed doing the show with you guys. Sincerely.
No, you know what? I love you guys like brothers. I love everybody who watches our show. I hope that you stick with us. We're extremely loyal to the people.
No, wait a minute. Earlier today, you told me I was not enthusiastic enough. So, David, pump up the enthusiasm a little.
This is about as enthusiastic as a 50-year-old man at 11:40 at night gets. It's about as good as it gets, my friend.
We're gonna have to close with a song if it keeps up like this.
I want to thank you guys for keeping this going. I also want to thank our new sponsor, the wonderful Film Hub, who is now presents this show. To be affiliated with a company that is so important to the indie filmmaking community is really just an honor. And they have my films, Mr. Hush and Mr. Hush Legacy and Wits End, and they've done a terrific job with it. So I'm honored, to not only be associated with them as a filmmaker, but also with them being the new grand poobahs of this show. Anything you want to say in passing, Mr. Ridgely?
No, I had a blast tonight, and I can't wait to see what you guys have in store for us.
Oh no, we the guest list. Our past guest list speaks for itself. We're going to continue on that same path. We're going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to teach about filmmaking and about comic books and art and toys and pop culture and all those things that we love as a community. But I think the lesson that we taught the best, actually, is that friends stick together and we make things happen. And thank you very much for you guys for staying on course with us and doing this show. And in closing, maybe this would be the best time for you to give me a close-up, Mr. Ridgely, because it's never been more poignant. Remember, no man is a failure who has friends. Good night, everybody.